We are live.
Oh, we're live.
We
I was
are
texting.
live. It's a
Remember when I
slight
said,
lead-in.
"Here we go"?
Yeah,
that's what that was.
an indicator.
Well, how's everyone doing? It's the final green room of the run here.
Well, Tucker titled it "This Is the End."
Oh, this is the end. Do you know the song?
Not off
My
that so far.
only friend, the
I
end.
don't know it so
Tucker,
far.
do you know that?
I feel like I might have heard.
I know
it.
the movie. This is the end.
Well,
I thought the
Underrated
movie was
comedy
only
movie.
okay.
it's a good movie. Michael
I
Cera.
agree.
It came out when I was in college. and we
Michael
just watched
Cera
it a lot.
is
He's very good.
hilarious in that movie.
They have like everybody in
and
there.
also, let's be honest, Danny McBride, by far the best part of that. Danny McBride is all-time great. When he's making the breakfast in the morning, when they're saving he is just like, yeah, I can't say what he's saying, but it's so good.
Danny McBride. I'm trying to remember who
That's
that is.
Kenny Powers. He's Bound and Down guy.
I'm not a Danny McBride.
That's
guy.
a tough look for
I
you,
know.
buddy. I'm really, honestly,
I didn't really like the baseball
I'm
one.
genuinely sad for you that you're
I
not.
know.
I think he is one of the 5 funniest people alive.
Wow.
Like Righteous Gemstones, one of the
I like
best
Righteous
shows.
Gemstones.
That's him.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
all him.
Yeah.
Like he wrote it, he created it. It's all him.
Yeah.
Like, that's his thing.
Yeah, no, it's good. They're doing the final season.
I
so.
know. I'm sad. It's the last one. Baby boy Billy.
All
All right. What was I about to say? Too. Anyway, that was The Doors. This is the end.
The Doors. There we go.
All
All right.
All right. We're doing it, huh? It's
Away we
bittersweet.
go.
All right. That's it. I love you all. As I say every day, it is true. All right. Here we go. Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. Day 39.
Day 39.
39 days. 39 days straight. And as Tucker labeled the pod, this is the end, my friend.
So,
it is the most bittersweet feeling I have because look, we can't do daily pods like this every day forever. It'll ruin the specialness. Like
I agree.
It's part of the run.
I agree.
So I'm cool, not I'm going home to nap a little quicker, whatever it is. But from the bottom of my soul, I'm gonna miss this, man. Like I'm gonna miss how special this all felt. I'm gonna miss sharing this with everyone. I'm gonna miss this. And look, it worked. It's great. Let's do it again. It's amazing. But it is bittersweet for me.
Well, it is funny. We literally have talked Eagles every single day for 39
days.
So
dude.
we probably won't do it tomorrow. We're not doing it tomorrow. That's
tomorrow.
The decision.
I don't want you to listen to us. I want everyone to either go to the parade, to watch a parade on TV. I want people to crack a bottle of champagne. I want you to tomorrow should be one of the best days of all of our lives. We are celebrating the Eagles winning the Super Bowl in absolutely dominant fashion. Tomorrow's a day to kick back and enjoy.
Dude, I almost feel like talking to people preparing for the parade, like we're preparing for war.
It's seriously
like the game planning.
People have tents outside the art museum
already
now. Right now.
Yeah, I respect it.
Oh, it's baller.
That's crazy.
So respect. Yeah, let's put it this way. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I'm 43 now. 23-year-old James probably would
Might
be
have.
out
Well, I
there
feel
with
like the
tent.
fish concert goading.
Oh, buddy, you kidding me? I've done way worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be bananas. I mean, for any listeners down there, apparently every time it's in my head.
Same. Zoe's all
Great
about
song.
it too. So yeah.
I guess I'll be in the Oval. So anyone that wants to try to stop
you.
by,
The Oval, the
nice
Oval
and
man.
early. Yeah, the Oval man. Did you watch it mic'd up yet?
So I obviously went to bed.
Right.
I didn't even know that AJ Brown quote tweeted me.
So here's the thing about the AJ Brown. I know it's him, but he has successfully manipulated me.
Him.
I
mean, it's the one before
not
is
being
him in the
sure.
hospital and stuff. It's him.
No, I agree. But there's the guy. If it's not the guy who's running it,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But no, I went to bed, but I heard a bunch of it. We played on the morning show, and I can't wait to watch it. But I heard a lot of stuff.
It's so good.
It's so great.
Good,
I mean, the Jalen leadership stuff. I mean, the way he's interacted, the Devontae one, the Saquon one. I mean, the stuff with Saquon, you're the last piece. The way this guy leads, we talked about, how many times have we talked on this pod in years past about, if you could build a leader, if you could build a guy who goes about his business the right way, and all that it would be Jalen. And it was just cool to see all that stuff behind the scenes, like in real life, come to fruition, to see the way this guy, leads these guys and handles his business and goes about his business. It's been so cool, man.
So there's one part of it that is just living rent free in my head. I will never forget this part of it. And there's so many great parts of it, but this is more of a serious one. So coincidentally, earlier in the day yesterday, I was watching a video on Twitter. It's just someone tweeted it, and it's of Jalen welcoming Devontae to the Eagles when he got drafted because Jalen was 2020, Devontae was 2021, and Jalen and Devontae are like in the NovaCare, and Jalen's like,
Yeah, I remember the video.
yeah, he's like laughing and smiling. He's joking with Devontae, like da da da. And I remember watching that video and thinking, like, man, like, where did that guy go, right? And then in the mic'd up, he's sitting on the sideline. I forget who he's talking to. It's an offensive player. And he goes like the guy says to him, like, "Hey, Jalen can smile now." And a bunch of
So when it's double zero, it was Saquon.
Yeah.
It's like when it's double zero.
Yeah, exactly. But it was noteworthy to me how many people said to him, like,
dude, are you kidding me?
now.
Like, and not it's the you can smile now, and also the doubting him stuff. I think those are the two.
Those are the two main
from
themes.
The team.
Agreed,
like obviously BG, the whole O-line thing when they're like when he threw the Devontae pass, and they're like, now who's gonna doubt you now?
Right.
And he's like, I know. Or whatever.
I know, it's so good.
He's just so cool, man. He's so
but
cool.
The part in there where he's like, are you gonna smile now? And Jalen says, like, man, that last loss like broke my soul.
Yeah.
And I think like there's
It-
been so many times over the last 2 years where I've been like, what's changed? Like, why are like the things that you hear about him, like, why? Because you never heard it before. And like, the stuff like that Brandon said about like him and AJ, right? And like
One
Eagles
is
wanting him to
trying.
be a better leader and more outgoing, and the stuff with him and Nick. And I always thought to myself, like, what happened? Like, what made that happen? And so Jalen's sitting there and going like, it broke my soul. I am very excited to see what type of Jalen we get over the next
Me
year.
too.
Because I wonder how much of this was simply like that Super Bowl loss changed him. And for the better, for the worse, whatever you want to say.
Well, I think at first maybe for the worse, and maybe now for
And maybe
the
it made him a better player, and he
Yeah.
got it. So like I think there were positives to it for sure. But I just wonder like how much, like, for so long I thought to myself, like, why? Like what is it? And maybe it was as simple as losing that Super Bowl just had like a massive, massive impact on him. And so for the last 2 years, he hasn't been the same guy.
Totally.
And maybe now he will, like, now you can do like, well, maybe he shouldn't change back because like they won the Super Bowl. But I'll just be curious to see like what the next year is like for Jalen.
Well, here's what I'll say. And I do think that, we saw him smile and we saw him like, and I thought, we talked about this yesterday, but him on the Tonight Show with jokes when he's talking about like, I'm not some psychotic
View,
person,
show,
like
yeah.
I'm not psychotic and all that. And like doing the, like even that comment about like looking at himself in the chrome. And like there's so much poignant stuff combined with smiles and happiness and love and all this stuff. And I mean, first of all, for a 26-year-old to just think about things the way he does is crazy to me. Like I'm 43 and I still don't get that deep with like, I mean, that some of the things he
real quick. It's funny because at one point, not a beat, like at one point, someone in the media came up to me after a Jalen presser and was just kind of like, it's crazy how he's like 25 and he preaches to like people that are way older than him. And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, like, it's interesting. But I'm also like, he does like see the world in a way that I think people like I could learn from too.
Well,
like he is very,
he's wise.
Yeah, exactly.
He's wise. And obviously how he's handled adversity should be a lesson for everyone on the planet about how to go about handling adversity. But what struck me with this was that, to your point about, he's, better with teammates on, and he was, but at the same time, like his teammates love and respect him. And that came through so like the BG for him, no one's going to doubt you now, like the lineman stuff where it's like, I think that the criticism that Jalen took, it felt like his teammates felt that as much as he did, or maybe not as much, but to a high level. And that they were so happy for him that he could prove doubters wrong, that he could show people who he was, who they knew he was.
Well, and that
hit me hard.
I also think they wanted him to be happy.
Totally.
Like they were kind of like, come on, man. Like you did it type of thing. Right. And Jalen just doesn't seem like the type that's going to do a big, like, like blow, like, F you type of thing.
No.
Like, I think he'll do it in his own subtle ways and he's earned it and he should do it. But he's not, I don't think he's going to be like a jump on the bench on the sideline.
No,
like,
I don't think
you guys
so
said I couldn't do it. Right. So the other thing that really stood out to me was how involved Nick is in the play calling. Like there were.
Well, how about the go for it?
Exactly.
About the Devontae thing. He's like, just go for the juggler.
100%. Like there were multiple times where, and then he also,
which is a great sign considering Kellen's leaving.
That's where I was going. And there was another part where he goes up to Kellen and is like, basically like, let's just run it downhill on him. So I think that while like losing Kellen is going to matter, there are positives to it too. But ultimately, I think Nick and Jalen are like the crux of this. Like
100%.
Kellen might be the idea man, and that matters. You got to get a new idea man. But in terms of game day operation, like Nick and Jalen are clearly very involved. But overall, it was just like, what a special team, man.
What a
and I
special
know it's
team.
easy to say because they won the Super Bowl, but like you just watch them and it's like Saquon's such a leader. Zach Bond is such a leader.
Totally.
Like,
I mean, Zach Bond with the Cooper thing where he's like, that's veteran bleep,
well, and
man.
they kept going like they kept walking around and being like, stay here, stay here.
Dude, okay, so I'm sorry, brothers. That was my number one takeaway out of all when you keep playing all, whether it was CJ GJ, whether it was Jalen.
Did you see the
Saquon,
the CJ GJ thing where he gets everyone in a circle?
Yeah, and he's like let's take a breath.
They all take a deep breath.
That's
yeah,
but they kept saying like, stay here. It ain't over.
Yes, exactly.
Saquon did that. Don't be fooled. It's 0-0 right now. Like that was and I give Nick Sirianni a lot of credit for that.
For sure.
Like we talk so much about how he's had his guys ready to play, and they were. I think part of that was that mindset of like, hey, remember what happened last time? We were up 10 and we lost. Like it ain't over till the zeros. Like stay on him, stay fighting.
Yeah.
Like and that was clearly, and you heard it throughout. Like that's something I think that Nick hasn't gotten enough credit for. Is like all year long, whether it's Saquon, whether it's Jalen, whether it's AJ, whether it's CJ GJ in those moments, like these guys parrot him. Like these guys, like they can't be great without the greatness of others. That's a Nick thing that Saquon has said 8,000 times now. Like that is a sign of a great coach, of someone that guys believe in, that someone that guys buy into when they are parroting him, when they are saying his little phrases over and over and making it their own. Like that's buy-in.
Well,
that is freaking buy-in right there.
Well, and the other thing too that comes across to that as well is like the 2017 team was super, super special. And I really, truly don't want to do the like,
no, we're not gonna.
We're not diminishing that team at all. But I think what you're seeing,
this team was better. We know that.
Well, I just think this is the closest thing we'll ever see to a perfect team, like on the field and off. Like exactly. You never know. But I just mean in terms of like
one of the great teams. I think they're the best team in the salary cap. Right. I think they're arguably like one of the great NFL one season teams we've ever seen.
And I think like off the field too, though. Like, look, no,
I don't think you can be that great on the field unless.
Agreed.
I think it's
but that's what I mean. Where it's like all teams have flaws, and this team has flaws too. But like they're pretty close to not having a lot of flaws. And I think on the mic'd up, like the other thing the mic'd up did that I didn't really like, it made it seem as if it was a competitive game. And like they were like the Chiefs mounting a comeback. I'm like, bro, it was 34-0. Like I wouldn't say they like fought till the end. Like they did in the way that they had a bunch of trash. Yeah. But like that was kind of
and they had 6 points with 2 minutes and 55 seconds.
Right, exactly. So
like,
it wasn't
never forget that.
It wasn't, like they pushed till the end. It was also interesting, and it wasn't clear when it said, but and this isn't surprising. At one point, Mahomes just clearly gives up. Like he says something like, we'll be back next year.
I know.
I don't know what the score was, but my guess is it was like midway through the third. Like it was, it was really cool. Like I've never actually sat down and watched like the mic'd ups completely straight.
So
the
only time
I only ever see him on Twitter.
The only time I ever did it was 2017.
Yeah, but I've never sat down and watched.
I can't wait to do it.
I've watched like the fulls.
I've seen the clips. But
yeah.
I only watched it for Super Bowl 52. That's the only time I've ever done it. I can't wait to watch the full thing for this one because it's glorious.
It is. It's very, very cool. And like, I mean, they're like close to a perfect team.
They're the goats, man. They're the goats of Philadelphia sports.
It kind of was the perfect playoff run when you consider like there was some moments where it looked close. There was a lot of really memorable moments.
The Rams game was close. Like, we can be real. The Rams game was one of the scariest games I've ever watched in my lifetime.
That was the Falcons.
Yeah, and it was scarier in my opinion. Like Falcons game was tight. Like that Rams game was like back and forth.
I agree. And when they got down to the 12 against the Rams, I was like, pretty sure I was like, they're going to score.
It was, again, like, I mean, that's the thing is like, we'll remember the Cooper DeJean play. We'll remember the Saquon leap from this season. There are so many things to remember. Like, we need to never forget the Jalen Carter play.
Yeah.
Like, because of all the stuff, whether it was the Cooper DeJean thing, contributed winning a Super Bowl, but they were already up 10-0. We knew they were going to kick their ass.
Yeah, like the closest they were ever to being eliminated.
Like the two Jalen Carter plays are the only plays this whole postseason and arguably the season, because in season it's not life or death.
The same, yeah.
Like there's only two plays that save the season, and those were the Jalen Carter.
I would guess I would love to. I'm sure we could look back, but like that moment against the Rams was probably the only time they were underdogs in any playoff game this year. I guess the start of the Super Bowl. But I mean, like in terms of live betting, like I would bet.
Well, I don't think they were underdogs then. They were still the favorite.
You didn't get that point.
Oh,
still?
they were. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They would not.
I was just
be,
thinking.
Yeah. But it was probably close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the closest it was
Yeah.
outside of like 0-0 to start a game
Crazy.
or whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely.
The fact that that stat where they were only trailed for like 5 minutes in the playoffs is just.
Oh, I didn't see
insane.
that. That is pretty.
Yeah,
wild.
they only trailed for like 5 minutes. It was
I
like,
can't even think of when they trailed.
So they trailed for like
Washington?
13 seconds to Washington because it was 3-0,
Yeah,
and then
true.
Saquon ran, and then they trailed to the Rams.
Did the Rams
7-6, I want to say, because Jake Elliott missed the extra point.
Oh, yes,
maybe,
yes,
or
yes.
whatever
Yeah,
it
it was
was.
7-6.
It was
Yeah.
7-6
with
for
a
like
minute
4
to go.
minutes or whatever of that
Okay.
game, and
The
that
latest
was it.
they've trailed.
Yeah,
in any
and
game.
that was it.
Yeah, I mean, we might. I mean, look, and we said it in 2022, so I will not play anything past this team, but we might never live through like a more special magical season. Like it was just like it had everything.
See.
It had everything.
So I don't know about that. Like first and foremost, like
well, I'm sure we will.
I think 2017 was more magical.
Yeah,
I think this was dominant.
That's what I mean.
This was like, I don't know. I like, this is again, like, look, I'm 43. This is the best Philadelphia sports team in my lifetime, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So yeah, like who knows if I'll see a better one? Like we might, hopefully we do, but to date, it's easily the best team. Right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just,
we'll see, you know,
it was near perfection.
yeah, it was as close as, you know, you're going to get. All right, let's get to some underrated guys because we've thrown out so much love. And by the way, later we will, the Bet Parks Picks Pod, will do a little look ahead to the odds for next season. But let's get to underrated players. But again, I just mentioned Bet Parks. Download the app. What are we doing here? I mean, the lineup of the Bet Parks lineup that we put together. I mean, Mike Quick, Seth Joyner, Jody Mack, Mark Zumoff, Rob Ellis, Joe Conklin, and us, Eliot Shorr-Parks, James. I mean, what a group of people that is. And obviously, the off season's here. We're going to talk about the future bets you can make. Future bets, just saying, one of the ways I won on our birds, bet on them to win the big game prior to the season. Bang, no big deal.
Did you? What'd you get him at prior to
like
season?
plus 1,400.
Oh wow, there you go.
Bang.
How many shekels you put on that
Bang.
one? Like 5
I put 5 to win like 80 or whatever.
There you
it was
go.
A great win.
Free
It
money.
was delightful. I might have put 6. I think it was like 6 to win it.
Oh, you were really feeling it.
I was getting crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, the future bets are so much fun. But look, we know baseball's coming up. We'll be getting into those bets. I'll be giving you my over-unders as that gets closer. Basketball, I mean, I would bet against the Sixers. I feel like that's a winning strategy. You know, just do it. But you can always bet on the sports. But in addition, you got a casino right in the palm of your hands. You got roulette. You got blackjack. You got Baccarat. That was pretty good. That was, I don't even know.
I didn't know if I said Baccarat.
Yeah. And a casino right in your hand. You can play slot games, all kinds of awesome stuff. And here's a great deal. New users, if you sign up now, you get up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. Casino bonus must be wagered. Check betparks.com for all the details. It must be 21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Michigan. Gambling problem, go on, enter gambler. All right, let's get some underrated guys.
All right, so
this is just the sense of like, maybe they're not underrated over the course of the season or this.
5 guys we haven't given enough credit
for the Super Bowl.
Over the past week,
yes, this week. Like guys,
their names have not been said enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So this is probably the most obvious one that I have, but like, I don't think Reed Blankenship gets enough credit.
What a good answer.
Like, the dude is a starting safety. He was an undrafted free agent. He makes big play after big play. I think he's the better. Like, CJGJ was better than I thought. I think Reed Blankenship is their best safety. Like, I just think this guy, like, he's not a Pro Bowl level guy, but I could picture him getting there. And he adds a ton of personality to the team. He makes clutch plays. He's been the constant over the past few years. And in the locker room, he was awesome. The videos of him being interviewed after the game, like, they are such a star-studded team that he doesn't get the publicity. But on almost any other team, Reed Blankenship would be viewed as like this amazing, like, what a fine story. And we just kind of like, he's there all the time.
Undrafted guy.
He plays all the time. He's great all the time. But to find a player of that caliber that started for you in the Super Bowl at safety as an undrafted free agent, like, credit to him, credit to the team. He doesn't get enough credit.
So I totally agree with you, but I'll go with the other safety because that's one of mine.
Okay.
And you mentioned, I think that CJGJ has not gotten enough credit, not just for what he has on the field, but what he brings to this team.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about when he was signed, but like Jason Kelsey talked about it on the air. Like so many people have talked about like you need dudes who come in and are just kind of crazy when it comes to playing football and kind of just, come in, bring this insane energy. And that's what this guy does. And look, he's been here 2 years. They've gone to Super Bowl, both of them. All right. Like both. CJGJ is 2 for 2 in Super Bowl appearances as an Eagle, right? Yeah. And I think that I think he's outperformed his $5 billion contract without a doubt. And I think that what he brought to this defense from an edge and an attitude, which is what we talked about when we time, we're like, oh, they need that. Like, but like, he brought it. And I think you hear it when people talk about him, when the team talks about him, what he brings. Like players always talk about, he brings an energy that they need. And I think the attitude on defense, and I think you heard the leadership too in that quote in the mic'd up thing where he's like, all right, I'm breathe on 5, on 3. I mean,
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. I think sometimes we think of him as only being the like, let's go crazy and hit somebody,
he's
like
a good
type of
football
guy.
player too.
But but I also think he's very good at like
leadership.
Okay, everybody calm down. Like, it's okay. Like, here's what we're going to do. Like, I think that's an underrated part of his leadership. He's not just man, that guy's going crazy, I should too guy. I think he's like a telling people what they need to hear in that moment type of leader. And yeah, as a player, he's definitely better than I thought. He's a better tackler. Yeah, like he makes big plays. He had big plays this year.
He led
like
the team in interceptions.
Yeah, he makes exactly. So he was obviously a very good signing. Like without question.
You're next.
All right. So number 2 for me, this is more of like a very underrated guy. If I could buy stock in 3 players on the Eagles, it would be Milton Williams, Jalix Hunt, which we've talked about. I think Moro Ojamo is
This is a great one. He had a big play in the
I think Moro Ojamo, again, a 7th round pick. He gives him quality snaps at defensive tackle.
This is a good answer.
Like, I feel so good about the defensive tackle spot with Moro Ojamo and Milton Williams rushing next to Jalen Carter. I think Moro Ojamo is definitely an NFL player. I think he can be a starting NFL player. Being around him in the locker room, he's an awesome guy, like super smart. Like, I think he adds a lot to the team. What a find in the 7th round. And he makes big plays against the Packers in week 1, which we all knew, like, the beginning of the season was like critical. They didn't start slow. He makes a play against Jordan Love in week 1 to rush him in the pocket. He has to throw it out of bounds, and they kick a field goal instead of do a game-winning touchdown or game-leading touchdown. But like, he had big plays in the Super Bowl. I just think this dude is so good. I'm like so in on the young. Like last year, I remember feeling this way about their young corners. And look, they added Quinion Cooper, and I was mostly wrong about the corners I like, but whatever. It's still how I felt. Like
Eli Ricks type.
Eli Ricks, Keely Ringo. I really liked Isaiah Rodgers. Like, I was in on their young talent. And obviously now with Quinion Cooper, like
super in on it.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
League, yeah.
But I this year, like, my favorite unit to like be super in on is the defensive line. And I just think Moro Ojamo's a big part.
I love that. I think that's a great answer. All right, it's fun too because it's the like polar opposite type of answer of my second guy who I think was underrated, because this guy has not been underrated. I mean, you could argue like maybe nationally, and even then he's not really. But we've talked so much about BG, and rightfully so, with him getting back and actually playing in that magic. We've not mentioned Lane Johnson's name enough as a 2-time, right? I mean, like, I don't think he's come up on the pod. Like, Lane Johnson's a 2-time champion in Philadelphia. One of 4 people who could say that since the 70s Flyers. And we talked a lot about your matchups, the key matchups going in. By the way, we're definitely doing key matchups for the runs moving forward. That worked out. Yeah. But like we talked, George Karlaftis
he was a non-existent.
I didn't hear his name.
Yeah, he was not.
George Karlaftis, his name was not said during the broadcast. Like, Lane shut him the hell down. And I don't know what else to say about Lane Johnson other than like one of the best Eagles of all time, a Hall of Famer without a doubt.
He's got Mount Rushmore arguments.
He's got he has been the best right tackle in football for so long. It's almost just like a forgotten thing. Like he is properly rated. I don't think he's on. I think, he gets his due.
To be fair though, this year he didn't make all pro.
Yeah, he was second team all pro.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we've mentioned enough this week because we've talked so much about BG. We have not given enough credit to the other all-time great Eagle who has now won 2 rings.
Well, and also we talked yesterday about how Brandon could be like the face of the Eagles. Like if you before that it was Kelsey. Now we think it might be Brandon. Like, Lane's a better player than both of them,
without a doubt.
And he's been here his whole career.
Brandon, like Kelsey,
they're all amazing players, but I think Lane,
it's a harder position.
I think even they would tell you Lane is a better player, right?
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
But regardless, they're all awesome. But he probably isn't as loud as those two are, but he also has an awesome personality. Like, he does stuff in the community.
Super likable.
Yeah, very likable. Exactly. Yeah. So I agree with you. I think that for him winning, like, there was a lot of Brandon has 2 now.
That's my point.
There wasn't as much.
I felt like there was, and rightfully so, because of the story and the fact that Brandon was out and he came back and all the stuff and him talking. And I do think Brandon doing what he did helped this team. Like, I really do think that it kind of, after last year, and he saw, but like, we've not talked about Lane that same way, and like, Lane deserves that same energy.
I agree. All right. So I've
only got 1 more.
Okay, so I have 3 more. We'll do them quickly. So I'm gonna go with a bigger name than the other 2.
Good, because my last one isn't as big a name, and I don't. If it's one of your 2, that way,
All right. I'm gonna give some credit to Jordan Davis. Like,
love this.
Jordan Davis
Had a sack in the Super Bowl.
Had a
man.
sack in the Super Bowl.
Like Jordan, dude, Jordan Davis had a sack in the Super Bowl.
I think he had a sack against Washington or LA too.
Yeah,
like,
was it Washington? I think it was Washington.
And here's where I'll give Jordan Davis credit too. Like being around him this year. I remember when he first sat down as an Eagle, I remember thinking like, this dude is such a leader. And I still feel that way about him. And I think one of the players that this year just put their head down and worked was Jordan Davis. And this might be a little too behind the scenes, but like Jordan Davis used to always be in the locker room when the media was there. This year, he was basically never there. And I'm sure part of that is like he heard the criticism and, blah, blah. But like what Jordan Davis did this year, is he worth the 13th overall pick? Probably not. But if they picked up his 5th-year option, I don't think it'd be a crazy thing to do.
He certainly was like the way players pan out.
Yeah.
Like, he certainly was not a boss.
No, he is an NFL player.
Yeah.
And I think this year...
He would probably go in the second round of a redraft.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Maybe even first.
Maybe even late first. Yeah, exactly.
I think he solidified himself this year as an NFL player. I give him credit for like, it would have been easy to collapse if you were him. Like, it's hard to stay in shape because he's such a big guy.
Stuff.
Everyone's
like,
ripping him.
What was it, Baldy? You said
he was overweight all the time.
Every single week he got fined or whatever. Yeah.
And he's not Jalen Carter. He's not Nolan Smith. He's not N'Kobe. I get that. But like the dude kept fighting. He stayed with like working hard, and he played in the Super Bowl. He got a sack, and he's a Super Bowl champion. Like I'm very happy for Jordan Davis.
Me too.
Feels like the work he put in paid off, and I love seeing that.
And I think that it says good things for his future because we
I
know
agree.
what type of athlete he is.
I think he's an important part of the locker room.
Yeah, athletically too. Like we know he has all the ability.
Yeah. And the 5th-year option thing will be an interesting thing to discuss.
If he's already showing that he's improving as a pass rusher, like that could change what he becomes.
And also like if he improves,
like I don't think he will ever be a pass rusher, and like.
He's starting to show a little bit,
rusher, but he's got a couple sacks in the playoffs.
Yeah,
man. Like,
for sure. I mean, like the 5th-year option thing, I don't know. Like if he takes another step next year, he's probably worth more than what they're guaranteeing in the 5th year.
I agree.
So like there is that aspect.
That's a really good one. All right, I will. My last one, and I'll kind of do a 2-for-1, but it's really the guy who played in the Super Bowl. And we talk so much about the big name guys and all this stuff, but like only one dude, and I guess technically. For a few plays, Tyler Steen stepped in and shout out to him. But only one dude.
Be my next one.
What? Okay, so you can do it. That's not my guy.
Right,
Tyler Steen's not my guy. My point is only one guy had to step in for a starter and play in 2 massive playoff games, including the Super Bowl, and played freaking awesome.
It's a good one.
Oren Burks.
It's a really good one.
We have not mentioned that guy's name.
It's a really good one.
To come in and just be ready.
Yeah.
To be ready. The next man up thing, like that was something this team had all year. But in the 2 biggest games, there was only one starter who wasn't there. And that's N'Kobe Dean, who I think deserves a shout out to, and I'll throw that into because he was awesome this year and they bounced back and what N'Kobe did. Like Oren Burks stepped in to a tough spot and was part of the best defensive performance we've ever seen in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it was a big part of it. Like that dude deserves so much credit for being ready and stepping in and playing at the level.
Also, a year ago, Oren Burks played awful against the Chiefs in the
because Dre Greenlaw went down.
So he got that revenge. But I agree. He was not only was he good in the way where it's like you never heard him because he was doing his job. He was good in the way that like you heard about.
Well, and
like he was making plays
that he deserves some credit for. That like this game, when we think about the playoffs, this will be the forgotten game, like the Packers game. We know it. But Oren Burks started the playoffs out by knocking the ball out of the kick returner's hand on the very first play of the playoffs. That was Oren freaking Burks before he even started playing for N'Kobe. Like Oren Burks was there making plays on special teams. Like really shout out. You need guys like Oren Burks to make it through a full season, and that dude stepped out.
I agree. So my next one was going to be Tyler.
Maybe my 3 got through. That's so cool. I was so worried.
So I was going to do Tyler Steen.
And I think it's a great one. That's why I mentioned his
I
name
will. Yeah. Like another guy I think in the Jordan Davis vein that kind of like, I don't want to say saved his career, but in training camp, you were talking, and it was like they're out on Tyler Steen.
Dude, again, we talked about it so much, but I still think about the fact that Nick, of all guys, Mr. Team Guy, when he was listing the linemen,
yeah, forgot to. Yeah, exactly. Like, but I think he was good enough this year where I could picture a world where they don't resign Mekhi Becton because of it. So Tyler Steen, like credit to sticking with
NFC
it.
Championship game.
Yeah, stepped in. Like he took a few snaps in the Super Bowl.
It was 13 snaps in the Super Bowl. It's not nothing. Like that matters.
So he was gonna be my guy. But let me do one more because I think you'll appreciate it too. I think Braden Mann deserves a lot of credit too.
So if I had a 4th name, I didn't put it on there. If you had said one of mine, I was going to go to
good all year. I can't think of a single bad
good in the Super Bowl.
Good in the Super Bowl. Yeah. They pinned him deep a bunch of times. Like no bad holds, nothing. Like he was just like the
holds too. Not just that, some great holds. Like the snow game. Like
exactly.
Some of those were really hard to corral and get down. Like that's a great point. I was just thinking as a punter, but as a holder too.
He was awesome this year.
And obviously we talked about it so much, but if you think about 2 years ago in the Aaron Siposs thing, like
Exactly.
Braden Mann was not just not a liability, he was really good.
Yeah.
It's a great call.
That was good.
How
it was
about
good
it?
to do some underrated
It was fun,
guys.
right?
Yeah, it
I
was
just figured
fun.
we
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things where, like, and it's impossible, but I wish we could give every single, and up there, give everyone their due. Like everyone who was a part of this, everyone who contributed this, like, I feel like everyone deserves their due because to your point at the beginning of the pod, like, this is such an achievement.
Yeah.
This is such a remarkable, it was a remarkable football team.
Well,
it was a remarkable run they went on, and it's stunning how amazing they were. And I want all the guys who contributed, even if it's Tyler Jean for 13 snaps, even if it's, whoever, like Brayton Mann for kicks here and there. Like, I just think they all, Jake Elliott for freaking being awesome in the Super Bowl. By the way, there was one man in Philadelphia,
Elliott supporting Elliott.
who supported
Elliott supporting
And
Elliott.
look, Jake Elliott was a superstar in the Super Bowl.
He was.
It didn't matter because they kicked their ass, but he was getting, like, was it 3 re-kicks and he's uprights, bang, uprights,
Yeah,
bang,
he's clutch.
upright.
He's clutch.
So, like, I want all those guys to get the credit they deserve because I feel like they all deserve so much.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it in the moment because it was like the end of the fourth, so much was going on. We were planning post game, but I do think it was really cool. Nick put all the backups in,
dude. I think it was
to
awesome.
give them a chance to play. Like,
It's
that's
so
such
cool
like
they
a
played in the Super
culture
Bowl.
building thing. Like,
Well,
I
also
still wish Jalen would have got the final.
So that's,
meal,
I feel the
but
same way. But now what we don't know, and it wasn't the mic'd up, so I'm guessing it didn't happen. I wonder if Nick went to Jalen.
Yeah, I
and
don't
was
know.
like,
It wasn't in the mic.
it wasn't in, and I think it would have been if Jalen was like, no, let them play. So who knows?
I agree. But like even Tristan McCullum, Sidney Brown, like guys, I know they got beat for a touchdown.
Well,
but it's worth it. Like they were in the Super Bowl.
you
like,
know what?
that's
They
pretty
get to
cool.
tell people they played in the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
Kenny Pickett threw a pass in the Super Bowl.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the funniest byproduct, and we're gonna get to the Bet Parks part of this. But the funniest part of it was that won people the over 2.5.
Oh yeah, the 2.5 people
pass.
throwing. Yeah, I know.
And no one ever, like, we're all like, well, Saquon throw a pass. Well, the
Yeah,
Chiefs
and it was
running back.
Kenny
Like, it was
Pickett,
like,
yeah.
everyone thought it'd be a backup
and with the
quarterback,
game
and the game's
over too.
Not
Like,
because he came into play, like the game's over. And Kenny Pickett throws a pass. It's like, I want that pass.
I know. Yeah, that is one of those things where it's like, I'm obviously kidding with this, but it's almost like, Nick bet on the over.
Oh yeah, no, but that you're right.
Like that's a very easy way to manipulate
Totally.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, and again, just like shout out to the team that they whooped their asses so much that they could put
Yes.
back in them. But I'm with you. I thought that was a really, really neat thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to future odds in 1 second. First, let me just quickly address the AJ Brown quote tweeting me.
Oh
thing.
yeah, go ahead.
So let's start with the first part, which is, and I tweeted it, like I actually texted Elliot. Inside baseball behind the dugout. No one will tell her. But I texted Elliot this tweet before I put it out, and I was like, I'm really upset about the Jason Kelce thing and the way he's being treated. And I know it's a vocal minority, but it clearly upset him if you heard him talk about it. And we know Jason, and I think anyone who's met him knows this, but he is such a kind, thoughtful,
he's got a very good
human being. And I think the fact that he is that way is probably why he's upset.
For sure. He's an emotional guy.
Yeah, he is. But so I sent you this tweet before, and I was like, I really want to put this out because I feel so uncomfortable, and I never do this kind of stuff. Like, I'm not Mr. Twitter, but I was like, I just want to like it bothers me. So I put this out.
Did numbies.
Huh?
It did numbies.
It did numbies. Big time numbies. Jason, maybe AJ Brown helped with that. So I put Jason Kelce helped us win our first Super Bowl. He spent his entire career in Philly, makes his home here, and gives back to the city. He is always kind and thoughtful towards people. WTF, I won't say it, Tucker. What the bleep are people doing being mad at him for rooting for his brother? Stop this nonsense.
Yes.
And that was tame. I wanted to be like, what the, like really throw curses in and stuff like that. But it's really upset me. Like, honestly, like this has been one of the best weeks I've ever had. I've been pure joy and stuff. The one thing that is kind of like brought me down a little bit. Yeah. And it's like, as an Eagles fan, like I'm embarrassed for the people who are like getting on Jason Kelce for rooting for his brother in a Super, and not even that, like just like, and when you heard him talk about, like the guy was conflicted. He didn't expect his brother to get his ass beat in a Super. It wasn't even like it was a close, like his brother, he had to watch his brother just get like embarrassed on a football field while being in a box with family and friends who are all rooting for Travis. Like, I've been really, and I know it is a small percentage of Eagles fans.
I was going to say, it is a very small
to your point about the numbies, like the whole like ratio type thing. Like I have 13,000 likes and 390 replies on this, and a lot of the replies are positive.
Exactly.
So, like, I get it, but like if you're one of those few hundred people who's putting that out there, like go bleep yourself. Honestly, that's how I feel. Like I feel like you are a discredit to Philadelphia Eagles fans. Like Jason Kelce spent 13 years here bleeding for you. This guy played in every single game he could possibly play as an Eagle. Every single time he went out there with injuries, with whatever. And then he has the nerve to help with charity and do things in this city and all. Like, Tucker, this is the hardest I've ever had to not curse. I'm not going to.
We're 35 minutes in. You can let it go.
Bleep all of you, dude. Like, have a little bit. I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
I know.
But like, have a little like respect. Have a little like perspective. Like because you got mad at him because he rooted for his brother. Like, loser. It is such a loser thing. And I'm embarrassed for you. If you're an Eagles fan who did it, like, I'm embarrassed for you. And like that's kind of all I got to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said
AJ Brown agrees with me.
You said a lot of it. I also think so my takeaways were a couple things. Like, one, I mean, I just feel bad because, like, to your point, Jason is reacting to a small amount of people. And I hope Jason knows that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But I also think, and you said
you
it
are no
also,
stranger to.
Well, I was going to say,
mentions.
yes, for sure. But also, like, I do think there's a lesson in there too for anyone. Like, look, we have followings online. I know people that listen probably don't, but like, if Jason can feel like everyone's mad at him and people don't like him, then everyone can. And I think, I think like it's okay sometimes to just, if you feel like everyone's mad at you or everyone hates you, like, that's not the truth, but it's okay to feel that way sometimes. Like, and so I think Jason feeling like the world's collapsing around him and he has to respond. Like, Jason has the highest Q rating of any person in Philly besides maybe Brandon Graham, and that's only because they're tied, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like Jason could not be more loved in the city. And so even him feeling that, I do think is a good lesson for people of, like, at some point, you're always going to feel like everyone hates you. And it's important to remember in that moment, that's just simply not the truth.
Such a great point, man. Yeah. It's such a great point. All right. Let's get to next year's future. By the way, my favorite thing was you two tweeting each other or texting each other, to wake up to you two texting each other, be like, man,
it's my favorite thing we do now.
Can't wait for James to
wake
the
up
other
and
one
find
too,
out that Drew. Yeah.
Drew,
multiple text threads.
Multiple threads being like, wow, can't wait for James to find this out.
Yeah.
And I found out from you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It was pretty funny. All right, let's get to future odds for next year. This is the Bet Parks Picks Pod, obviously, as I pull up the Bet Parks app. And last I looked, the Eagles were the favorite for next year, as they should be. They were tied. No,
okay.
I
was gonna say,
getting there. I'm going.
Well, did you see they were fourth in the ESPN Power Rankings?
Like, it's just,
which is just absurd.
Well, it's like, tell us that you're trying to be provocative.
Well, okay, so
you're trying to be provocative.
BLG was on the pod a few weeks ago, and I think what he said.
By the way, shout out to BLG. We broke the old curse. All that stuff. Right. BLG comes on, we win.
There you go.
It's a beautiful thing.
BLG said the whole. You think, like, and I was feeling this way prior to the Super Bowl too. Like, you have to just give the Chiefs the top spot.
Totally.
I think that's over now. I think that's over.
But I think it's the other way now. I think you have to give the Eagles top spot right now. Like, I think the Eagles
I think you should. I don't think you have to. The Chiefs had won 2 straight Super Bowls. Like, I think the Eagles deserve to be number 1. I just don't think any team right now
it should be 1 or 2. The point is, the Chiefs and Eagles should be 1 and 2 on every poll. And guess what? Vegas agrees. Bet Parks agrees. Like, they are 1 and 2 here.
If you wanted to put the Chiefs 3, like, I don't think that's, like, egregious at this point. They got smoked in the Super Bowl. They weren't super impressive all year. Like, if you want to tell me you think the Bills will be better next year, I'm fine with that. I think the Chiefs, because of how they lost that game, have lost they're number 1 no matter what.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right. Have you seen these odds?
I've not. I'm also bad at guessing these.
I know you are. You don't know. You just want to
get the order. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think the Eagles.
Say the odds. Don't try it yet.
All right.
So the Eagles and Chiefs are tied for first. They're both plus
I think the Eagles should be favorite.
They should, but that's fine. Plus 650, you're tied. That's fine.
Yeah.
Who do you think is next at plus 700?
I'm gonna guess the Bills.
Close.
Oh, it's the Lions.
Close.
Is it the Ravens?
The Ravens.
I don't like that.
The Ravens are third at plus 700. The Bills plus 800. Look, these are barely different.
Yeah.
And the Lions are fifth at plus 900. So you got the top 5 just in a different order.
I personally think the Eagles. So
I'm fine with the. I think at the end of the year, I know they lost to the Bills, but the Ravens were really.
They were really good. I just view them. I personally view them a notch below. Like, I don't. I think it's the Eagles, Bills Chiefs, Lions,
so
Bills.
I would put Eagles,
order.
Chiefs, and then a small gap, and then I would put Ravens, Bills in some order, and then I would put a gap before the Lions.
You would, okay. I'm still kind of in on
the Lions. Lost both coordinators.
Yeah, it's a good point.
We saw, and especially when, and look, we don't know, like, what Aaron Glenn seems like was a big part of that. Like, but like, we know Ben Johnson. We saw what Ben Johnson did with that scheme.
Yeah.
And we know, for as great as he is, and we love him, Dan Campbell, like, he ain't going to be happening to call plays or anything.
Yeah.
So, like,
I think
I
Ben
think those are
Johnson's a way
big-
bigger
I
loss.
think those
than
are
Kellen
big.
Moore.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
without a doubt. That's
Yeah.
my point. So I think those are big losses.
I agree.
For the
It's a
Lions,
good point,
just because
yeah.
we saw that happen. So, like, look, I think the Lions should be number 2 in the NFC. And would you like to guess the craziest thing possible is the next
I'm
team?
guessing it's the Cowboys.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, I was just thinking because of like,
The Cowboys are way down.
yeah,
as
they should be. I just
By
thought
the
maybe
way,
it
we
would
didn't
be.
get into it. By the way, shout out to Dak Prescott for making me laugh.
Yeah.
That was like, if I could have been like, what's the most ridiculous thing I could hear during the Eagles just won the Super Bowl in dominant fashion week? It's Dak Prescott coming out and being like, it's our year next year. We
Yeah.
always beat
I don't
those
know what
guys.
he's supposed to say, but
They
I
lost
agree.
75 to
Yeah.
13
No, I
to
agree.
the Eagles
I
this year
agree.
in the 2 games. Like, you know what he's supposed to say? Not that. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Be like, hey, we're excited. Good job, Eagles. We're going to try and match him. You know, like, hey, we
Right.
played with them before. Like, you know, we think we can maybe, you know, get to a level closer. But don't be like it's hard in the year next year. Like, you sound like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah. What a terrible hire.
All right. So anyway, it's Lions plus 900. Then the next one at plus 1400.
I mean, it's not the Vikings.
It's
Washington?
They're after that. They're
Wow.
plus 700. For some absurd reason, the San Francisco 49ers are next at plus 1400.
I disagree with it, but I mean, they might
strongly-
trade Debo. Like,
Yeah,
I think
it
they're in
feels
a
like
tough
things are kinda
spot.
falling
Yeah, I
apart
agree
there.
with that.
They're
Yeah.
going to pay Brock Purdy. Like, that seems like a mistake. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Washington next to plus 1700 is an interesting number.
I like that.
Like,
plus.
all I'll say, and I don't know that Jaden Daniels will be like these others because he's the greatest.
Yeah, it's hard to
person,
do it 2 years.
but we know it's like usually the league adjusts, and I think Jaden Daniels is going to be great, but I don't know if he'll be as great next year as he was this year. Who
Right.
knows? We'll see.
Well,
If then it's a whole.
The other benefit of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl is like teams do repeat the Super Bowl.
Totally.
Like,
We just
it's
saw
going to
it.
be
They
hard.
Just beat a team. that
Yeah, like, it's
didn't.
going to be hard, but you can't do the whole like, well, cross the Eagles off because they're not.
No.
You like you
Yeah.
could with the Niners last year. It's like, well, you know, they're not going to.
Well, that's because they lost.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think the
Yeah,
losing the Super Bowl is a different thing.
exactly.
All right, so then it goes Washington plus 1700, Bengals plus 2000, Packers plus 2200. So and then it goes down. Dallas is plus 5000, by the way. So
Dallas isn't winning.
Ready for this? Dallas is in a grouping. The teams that have the same odds to win the Super Bowl as Dallas: the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Arizona Cardinals are plus 6,000. They're right behind them, along with the Seahawks.
And I think that's fair.
Sure, I agree. I love to see it. But I think the big takeaway from this, to your point about what you just made, and look, we're gonna start to get into next season as we move on and all that. Like, we're still reveling. And tomorrow's a parade. Every time I say that, I get a jolt of electricity through my body. I will say that I do think that, and off-season moves have to happen, all that, but like, I think from a conference standpoint, the Eagles are pretty well set up. Like, you look at this, it's like the top 4 teams are the Chiefs, Eagles, Ravens, and Bills. 3 of those teams are in the AFC.
Yeah.
And we agree that's what it should be.
I actually think betting the Eagles plus 640
is
like,
such
if you want to take
not a
that
bad
80
bet.
and
That's
roll
my
it
point.
over, like
That's not a bad bet. Because there's a round
you're not
where
going to
the
get them
Chiefs
much
normally are.
lower. Like,
I agree.
they might drop to, who knows if they drop to 0-2
But
or whatever.
The schedule's tough and all. I know that, but the NFC, like, especially from a quarterback perspective,
I think now that they've won, they're like,
now we can talk about it.
They're like on a roll.
My whole rant, what was it, a few days before, where I was like, no dynasty talk. We have to win one. Don't even. We won one.
They're pretty set up.
We won one.
I agree.
All right, so we can go from there. All right, let's get to final thoughts, my friend.
All right. First of all, this is literally the last final thought I've written in my notepad. So it is a good
So I have more ready to go.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna have to have some life things happen to me or something to have something interesting. All right. So I think one of the best feelings in the world, and I almost think it's a better feeling than like the opposite of this. I think when your spouse is no longer mad at you, that second when you realize he or she isn't mad anymore,
it's a good one.
Is just like such euphoria.
It's like, oh, we're back to
exactly. Yes,
now,
100%. Like,
so now to be fair, I think knowing both of us in the conversation, you and I'm
overly emotional.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if my wife is mad at me, like I will do anything
for sure
to get her not to be mad at me.
And I'm also like, well, this is it.
Yeah,
like, oh, good run. Like.
You're taking Zoe.
Exactly.
Okay,
right. Exactly. Hopefully you'll split custody. But then the feeling of when like you see like it break and it's like, oh, thank
so I'm lucky in that Emily. So I've learned, we've been together a very long time now. I've learned that like usually if I just leave her alone,
I just can't do it.
I know. I'm what you're talking about. I'm the worst.
I'm this for sure.
But again, this is 20 years of figuring this out. Like if I give her 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like almost always she will come back and be chill.
I don't know if I've told you this analogy. I think my mom told it to me and it's a good one. Like like when Kristen's mad at me, it's almost like when a mouse is in a hole and you're trying to get the mouse to come out. Like the worst way to do it is to be like, get out, yeah, you just leave and it's like slowly inches out. But like,
I
yeah,
think that's the key. It's just so hard to do. I'm
it's
always
impossible.
Like, what can I do to
Oh
make you
my God.
happy? What can I?
I'll make it.
fix
I
this?
make it like 25 minutes, and I'm like upstairs.
Like, what can I do?
Exactly.
Why are we fighting? I
Yes,
hate this.
that's
It's the
exactly
worst.
how I am.
We don't fight a lot.
We don't.
Very
And then
rare.
she'll go like,
Very
"Would you just
rare,
not be
but-
mad?"
Yeah,
Like,
very rare.
But all that being said, it is the best when like
I agree.
it's over.
It's a good take.
It's a euphoria that is, yeah.
Good take. All right. I'm going to give a shout out, cousin Zoe. For the first time ever, and I've been told that this song is now like 4 months old, so I'm not like really on top of it. But
I heard of Post Malone.
I have a recommendation. Do you know the song APT Apartment by Bruno Mars and Rose? Freaking banger, dude.
Like
right. It's stuck.
I mean, I'm in on Bruno Mars. We need
so
cut.
shout out to Zoe.
Yeah.
I played that. Like I know that, you know, like it's kissy face.
All right, I'm gonna have to listen
super
to it.
almost cursed. Super catchy song. Like, so
I almost don't want to listen
for the
'cause I feel like
first
it'll be
time
in my
ever, I'm
head.
giving a shout. Like I actually have like only 4 months behind on a song instead of like 5 years. So shout out
All
to
right.
Zoe for that.
I'm gonna listen to it.
And the second thing is
I feel like you maybe heard the Kid Bop version based off the way you're singing, the way Zoe responded. It'd be funny if you had heard the Kid
it's a
Bop.
Bruno Mars.
No, I know,
it's
but
on
they
like
make
YouTube. We played the video 8 billion times.
No, okay, all right.
Yeah, no. It's
it'd just be
it's
funny
a song.
if you had,
It's no, and I looked up. It's like it was number 1 for a
Okay,
while. Like it's
all
like
right.
a song. It's it.
All right.
Okay. So shout out to APT.
There you go.
And then second thing is a thank you combined with a request isn't the right word, but just something to say to everybody.
Right.
But the thank you, I've mentioned before that, you know, the single best, nicest person I know, because you have to pick one, right? Like you, Eliot
Right.
Shorr-Parks are actually truly one of the nicest, most thoughtful human beings.
Other than
I know.
this other person,
Yeah.
you always say.
Yeah, but you're right. You're not quite
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Like,
Running.
I
Yeah,
am too. Like
exactly.
I'm a nice guy. People always say, "Oh, you're a nice guy." No, like I'm
Yeah.
not. Like I'm up there.
Right.
Evan Snagley is
Yes,
the nicest,
exactly.
best guy.
My
I know. Like,
arch
he just
nemesis.
is.
Yeah,
he just
exactly.
is. So I would like to thank Evan because yesterday Emily and I are home at 5:30. I hear a knock on my door. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's a UPS guy, Evan, who lives in Berkeley, California. It's a super nice bottle of champagne with a note.
It's a pretty nice gesture.
With a note saying, thank you for all the stuff. I feel like I get to hang out with you, listen to the pod, listen to the more. He is as real as it gets. Listen
Interesting.
to every pod.
I didn't get a bottle
Listen
of
to the
champagne.
WIB more. Well, we can share
I'm
it.
kidding. I'm kidding.
But you know,
Evan's not that
he
nice,
said,
no.
yeah. And telling me that, you know, to drink this at the parade and to,
That's
you know,
awesome.
celebrate. And like, so thank you, Evan. I can't wait to drink this beautiful bottle of champagne at the parade. And also,
It should be open carry law tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, it has to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
from
come
New
on.
Orleans to here.
Yeah,
right?
exactly right.
But also, I just want to tell everyone, like, enjoy tomorrow, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's gonna be awesome.
Like winning the Super Bowl is its own best night ever, and like watching it and experiencing it. But like it's like a two-pronged thing for us always. It's like we want to win the championship, then we want that parade.
Yep.
We want that celebration of the city with the sea of humanity and green everywhere and everyone high-fiving and hugging and drinking and having the best time. Like, I'm just really excited for all of us. I'm excited for everyone who's been on this ride with us. Like whether you're there, whether you're at home watching it, you know, crack some champagne, drink a beer, like kick your feet back and recognize that you're world champions. We are all world champions.
Yeah.
Our team that we give all of ourselves to did it. Like
crazy.
they freaking did it, man. They
crazy.
went to the Super Bowl
and they won.
And they whooped
and they
an all-time
dominated.
great quarterback and head coach. Like,
it's crazy.
It's really awesome. And like, I'm a live in the moment guy. Like I'm big on like being in the moment when I'm there. Like, try and be in the moment tomorrow. Try and not think about Kellen Moore or about, you know, next season or this or that. Like, try and just be there with this group of guys and what they did and us all as a communal thing celebrating together. Like, I'm just have a day tomorrow, you know?
Have a day.
Have a day.
So I have a number 39 that I want to say, but I don't want
we
to ruin the
forgot.
moment.
Yeah, it's okay.
That was such a good
we did it at the end. Yeah, we forgot.
Remember, I think it was like
we can't not do that.
I know. It was Travar Lindley.
Wow.
Remember him? Was he 39?
Of all the names,
I was in on
a
him.
tough name.
Was he 39? This would be an all-time pool.
This would be an unbelievable.
No.
Oh, so give us some 39, Stocker. Is there anyone?
It's actually maybe the worst number.
I was gonna say I can't.
You know how like Pro Football Reference does like their value of a player?
Yeah.
No one has a value above 3
Whoa.
in the history of the Eagles. Wearing this number.
So who's the best player at 39?
Rookie Eli Ricks. 'cause he wore 39.
Oh, that was a major miss by me.
What are the
Major
odds?
miss by
Wait, hold on.
What number
What are
was
the odds
Lindley?
that Eli Ricks would get mentioned already in this pod,
I
and then it
know.
comes around?
Craig James,
Remember
2019,
Craig
2020.
James? He was here for
I
a
don't.
hot second.
Trevard Lindley. That's who he was.
Yeah.
Chandon Sullivan,
Oh, he wore
Sure.
35.
Matthew Tucker. I was
Matthew
all in on
Tucker.
Matthew Tucker.
So
That
was
didn't work
I.
out.
He was a good one.
He was a Henry Josie like guy, where it was a big.
Stanley Havili. The
Oh
fullback.
wow,
Sure,
I forgot about
yeah.
him. He had a minute there.
Yeah,
Quentin Demps.
Quentin Demps. He was a.
And how about this one? Rookie Sheldon Brown. Or 39 before
What
switching to
website do you
24.
use for this?
Pro Football
Pro
Reference.
Football Reference has
It's just
it all.
crazy they have rookie Sheldon.
They have it
Brown.
all.
They have it
they're-
like it
they're
just pops
pretty
up.
wild.
Like he wore it in 2000.
By the way,
Okay,
can I tell you something? This is so dumb, but like speaking of Pro Football Reference, I have multiple times already just typed Super Bowl champions in and clicked on their page so that I could see the Eagles at the top.
There you
like
go. Yeah. Also, I'd be curious to know
if
if they have Jalen Hurts on a Hall of Fame trajectory yet. I looked on the website, but I couldn't figure it out.
Well,
Like they have like some weird way they do it.
Tucker will figure it out.
Tucker will
for us.
fill it out in
That'll
2
be
seconds.
something
You
that
scroll down a little.
that
It's
quickly
like
already.
they're
I
in
thought-
the third. He has to be like in the 39th or something.
His
you're-
Hall of Fame monitor.
Yeah,
He's
that was it.
73rd among quarterbacks.
But, like,
He's
is that all
41?
time?
The average Hall of Fame quarterback is 103.
But this is what I couldn't figure out. Like, so 41's obviously far away
So
from one.
no, that's a good thing, right? You're saying that
That's what I
he's-
couldn't figure out if it's a
right?
positive or,
or is it a
negative.
higher number you need to get to? Or
You need
lower?
a higher number.
Oh,
So,
okay.
like,
So
That's
he's
what
still
I
away.
meant. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's still away.
whole-
So it's
like,
probably about
so
I don't think that's like a-
Brady's 263 is the best ever. Manning's 257.
and so he's 41.
Rogers 200.
So if he was 107, he would be on a Hall of Fame.
So right now
trajectory,
he's
essentially.
41.
it's just
He's
a Hall of
sandwiched
Famer.
between
So
Matt
the-
Hasselbeck and Ron Jaworski.
Yeah, so it's based on full career stuff. So the
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is he couldn't be high. Like there's no one that
But they
like, in
currently
26
rank
would ever
him.
be.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly based on like Pro Bowls
And yards and stuff.
Yeah, using Pro Bowls, All Pros, championships, and stat milestones.
We really got off track here.
Yeah, it's all right. It was a good way to end it, but, yeah, it's fine.
Everyone, have a day tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. We will be there Saturday, 1 to 3
Yes.
on at Parks, talking about
Then a little bit of a break. So, like,
parade.
if you got to get
potentially-
in,
yeah,
this is
get
it,
in.
Yeah.
Call us. We want to talk. Seriously, it's our first radio show since the Super Bowl. If we don't talk to all our real ones, I will
Be very
lose
upset.
my freaking
Yeah.
mind. All right. Have a day tomorrow. We got a freaking parade tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. 'Cause
Until
the Eagles won the freaking Super Bowl. Until then.